I'm gay myself. When I was younger, I had all kinds of thoughts going through my head. Puberty just irons it out and you know who you are afterward.
No child has the capacity to make a decision to erupt their development in that way.
Are we not just sterilising future gay men and women, bisexual, like...
If you are coming here to demonstrate, what are you here to achieve? This isn't going to achieve anything if you're not even going to have a conversation.
Do you want to have a chat for 30 seconds, guys, or anything? Fascist scum off our street.
Anti-fascist! 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 You don't know biology! Fucking binary! You don't know biology!
Love these ones.
My daughter has been sucked into this. I think these people are appalling. They just haven't got they just can't possibly be thinking what they're saying. Because if they did, they would realise it was mad.
'Tis the season to be jolly. Fa la 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 la. Labour's Health Secretary Wes Streeting has decided to go ahead with a very controversial puberty blocker trial. Stop the trial on one side, the opposition on the other. We're hoping to get some interviews to see what people are doing, what the thoughts are. King's College London is actually deciding to go ahead with this. Children as young as 10 years of age can actually possibly go ahead with this as well. Obviously, in terms of that, they have no age limit on it. We really want to see what's going on. Let's have a little look at the opposition. For some reason, alright, we do seem to have a lot of chanting for Palestine. I'm unsure of the relationship between this. Hope we can get some interviews and see what's going on. Gay teens aren't sick. Can you tell me why you're down here today?
It's just really important. I just think that children deserve to have puberty. I'm gay myself. When I was younger, I had all kinds of thoughts going through my head. Puberty just irons it out and you know who you are afterward. I just don't agree with trials at this point because other countries have already backtracked on puberty blockers, like Finland. You know, Finland and Canada have seen between 85 and 89% of people who have gone through these trials just say, hey, do you know what? I think I'm gay and I'm happy with that at the end of it.
Do you think, I'm trying to understand in terms of the opposition, what Palestinian flags have to do with it? Any chance of highlighting that?
Well, at least it makes up their numbers a bit because as you can see, there's about 20 times more of us than there are of them. We're right around the corner. Obviously, you know, if trans people were to go and live in Palestine, they'd probably need to go to neighbouring Israel to be protected.
Bill Maher in America turned around and he said a lot of stuff wouldn't fly, but you would write off a building. For me, as far as I can understand it from the cast report as well, that there was a huge overlink, like you already just mentioned, between our gay brothers and sisters, bisexual brothers and sisters, and then on top of that towards autism as well. I think as well, a lot like yourself, when you go through puberty, that's the time it tells you who you like. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, and I would exercise more that it's better to be safe than to be sorry. Is that how you feel as well?
Yes, and don't get me wrong, when people are adults, do whatever you want because you're an adult and you're making an informed decision. But when you're a child, you just think differently and you just need to be allowed to be a child.
I think it as well, like when we're all younger, we think anything's possible and then reality hits us.
Yes.
For this as well, do you have any concerns, obviously, in terms of the puberty trial itself, in terms of puberty blockers? King's College London are doing it. They basically said that there's no age limit. Okay. Girls on average start their puberty at 11, boys at 12, but it could be even younger, 10 years of age. What are your thoughts on that?
I remember when I was that age thinking, you know, with all the boys that I fancy in school, you know, like me more if I had a vagina. And luckily I didn't have parents that marched me down to a centre like the Tavistock Centre when it was open to make that a reality. So I count myself very lucky. Besides the fact that you can't really detransition once you've had your penis cut off, I think there are just kind of other factors that aren't taken into consideration. So even kind of like the 15% of people that come out of these trials still thinking they want to be the opposite sex, they're on medication for the rest of their lives. So you know, there's a lot of different thought processes in place here. Certainly an 11 or 12-year-old child doesn't have a mind that can deal with all of those questions and answer them.
I believe in the cast report as well, about 98% of individuals who go on puberty blockers are pretty much guaranteed to go on cross-sex hormones, making them sterile. I'm trying to understand how that would benefit our gay and bisexual brothers and sisters, let alone the other problems that come with it as well. What do you think is a better solution for this?
I think let kids be kids as far as dressing up, like if you have a child that's male and he decides, I feel more like a woman, I want to wear skirts, I want to wear tights, let them.
Yeah.
So let them kind of live it if they want to, but don't medicalise them.
Yeah.
And just see whether or not they grow out of it, or actually it is really what they want to be.
There's also a part of me that was hearing the other day as well, a really great and easy saying, therapy before surgery.
Yes.
And I think it really highlights something that we all have difficult feelings in our life, like you'd mentioned before, with your own experience of coming out and not just understanding and accepting who you are inside and who you like.
Arkansas in the States has actually brought in a law, hasn't it, where you can actually sue practitioners for this affirming approach, and kind of almost like coercion, but actually they're treating it as malpractice if you've gone through this process. So I think we need more of that. We need to also allow parents to have rights over their children, and not be seen as child abusers if they don't want their child to like go through a transitioning process. It's all kind of completely bizarre to me. I kind of think of myself as a liberal person. I just can't get my head around this at all.
The first openly gay, as we would say, health secretary, Wes Streeting, is the first to kind of green light this, essentially, which in years to come, any children who's under this, if it goes ahead, might be affected for the rest of their life.
I think the Labour Party, though, are in a situation where they've got so many different factions, and I think they want to appeal to the people on the backbenches, maybe. But I was a bit surprised by that as well, because I thought he was kind of very common sense. It's just very disappointing. And as I said, other countries have already gone through this process, and they have data, so they can look at that. And actually, what about all of the children that already went through the Tavistock Centre? Why can't we kind of reach out to them and say, right, how are you feeling now? Why do we do this all over again?
Thanks so much for your time. Here now as well, guys. Stop transing the gay away. Defend women's rights. Young people know what a woman is. Of course, we're looking again opposite from us then as well. Not a heavy amount of police. Everyone seems to be very relaxed about it. Hopefully we'll go over to the other side and see what's actually going on as well. There does seem to be a huge overrepresentation of Palestinian flags. The reason for that, I don't know. Man, can I get 30 seconds? How are you today, first of all? Cold. I understand. It is quite cold. Why are you here today, man?
I'm here today because I am against puberty blockers being used to halt children's development. No child has the capacity to make a decision to erupt their development in that way. And Wes Streeting needs to stop the trial now. There's enough evidence of harm in people who've already taken blockers. They don't need to be using children as guinea pigs to assess the damage.
One of the things that, exactly that, with the Tavistock that has been closed down now, on top of that then as well, I've just been speaking to another individual here at the protest as well, is that there's a huge overlap between people who have gender incongruence, who are autistic, and who also, essentially, as we were just saying, grew up to be gay and bisexual.
Absolutely.
I personally think there's nothing wrong with that. And that's one of the big things as well, is are we not just sterilising future gay men and women, bisexual? Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around it as well. On top of that as well, I was just saying earlier that King's College London has decided that there will be no age limit. Average age of puberty for girls 11, boys 12.
That's unconscionable.
My question is how did they get ethical approval? Who signed it? Who was the one who turned around and said this is good?
I don't know, but I'd like to know the name of those who did that.
In terms of anyone who has gone through the Tavistock and obviously then, as we would call it now, detransitioning, do you think they should have to get reparations in some sense, be able to sue those at Tavistock? Should it be abuse?
I think that will come anyway. I think court cases are already starting to form up, so that's going to happen. But I want to see people criminally held responsible.
Can I ask you as well, I haven't been over to the opposition yet. I am seeing a strange amount of Palestinian flags. Of course, I'm trying to knit together the link between the two. You've been here longer than myself. Do you know what the relationship is?
I think it's a bit of an omnicause. The Palestinian group just rocked up half an hour or so ago, so they weren't here with the trans group originally. Yeah. But I think there's a high tolerance and there's a big crossover between them.
So it doesn't have anything directly to do with what
no,
they're...
No, absolutely not.
The other part that comes to mind as well, just on first glance from the opposition, is they do seem to be masked up.
always.
My question is why? I'm not going to assert anything. I am going to say is yourself, you're very happy to be recorded. I've passed everyone here so far. No one's shy or nervous or anything like that. Why do you think that is?
They will tell you that it's because they're afraid of us identifying them and doxing them.
Did you hear me there?
Okay.
But I think if you've got nothing to hide, you don't need to hide your face.
My thing as well is I've been at a few protests, recording, meeting people like yourself, happy to chat to everyone, and I really am. The thing that I never understand then as well is if we can go about it in a civil manner, I think you can achieve quite a lot more. It's
Absolutely.
like what you said so far is essentially what I've been hearing already is at 10 years of age, you cannot consent to something like that.
You
At 10
can't
years of-
smoke, you can't get a tattoo, you can't drink alcohol.
And with the huge overlap that I was reading, I believe on the CAS report of 98% of those who go on puberty blockers immediately go on cross-sex hormones.
Yes.
It's a guarantee.
Yes.
Why then would we take the risk any longer? I'm wondering what maybe is trying to be...
It's unethical. And you know, the Hippocratic Oath is first do no harm. Where has that gone?
Yeah.
Where has that gone? And how did our organisations get so tainted with this ideology? I think it's been a long time developing.
Okay.
So somewhere along the line there have been people in positions of power embedded.
To anyone who might be watching this, what would be your advice to them? If they're watching it at home, they're watching it on their phones, anything like that, for the next protest, God forbid if there are more, what would you say to them?
I would say get as much information as you can about puberty blockers, about the whole movement, because information is key.
Thank you so much. Hey Streeting, leave those kids alone. LGB Alliance as well. The Hippocratic Oath, which is what we should be promoting first do no harm as well. There are Palestinian flags that are here. They have just arrived as well. I'm unsure whether it's the connection. I don't know. I'm hopefully going to go over in a minute now and hopefully relate and see what they're doing. Like I said previously as well, that they're masked up, and obviously I understand maybe some people don't want to be on camera, but then they're fully hiding their identity as well and wondering what the reasons are for that. But let's see if we can just go through the protest as well furthermore. This seems to be the main heart of it as well going on. This lady over here stopped the trials, which we love. And there's a huge amount for the protest. Counter-protest not as big as numbers. Everyone seems to be coming out very strongly here as well, which is lovely. Let's see if we can go across now as we're going. We have the counter-protest going on. Hello. Trans kids deserve better, and I'm unsure the other one. Thanks very much, friend. Yeah, that's all right. I have my Fox. I'm just by myself. That's all right. You won't be able to block it. Just trying to get all the info I can, see what people are about.
The big extended.
My problem is I'm just happy to talk to everyone.
Yeah, but they're not.
That-
I got one conversation, but they took him away.
And like I said, I'm just happy to come over. Whether you agree or disagree, I think we can all sit down and talk away.
conversation.
Brother, can we have a word just for 30 seconds if that's all right? Why are you here today?
I'm here actually just have a conversation. Usually I'd come with the placards and assert the idea that the trans flag equals mental illness. That's sort of like our slogan. But today I thought, you know what, let's not do that. Let's just go down, let's try and have a conversation. Because I've been accused of being antagonistic. Well, whether I have the placard or don't have the placard, whether I make no statement or do make a statement, these individuals refuse to have a conversation. This gentleman called me, or woman, I don't know, accused me of being a paedophile. Two people have assaulted me, one hit me with a flag and the other one pushed me. And they're being incredibly aggressive versus me having a polite conversation.
The main thing I keep finding out in some of the protests is you can, of course, refuse to speak. Yeah, but people will have certain opinions that you can't change. And you can say it doesn't matter, but it does in the end.
Well, I agree. I struggled to hearing you a little bit. Apologies, because it's quite noisy. But I'm always going to try and push for rational debate. First, if you are coming here to demonstrate, what are you here to achieve? This isn't going to achieve anything if you're not even going to have a conversation. And I don't mean to try and stereotype, but I'm not the only one to observe that the optics of this demonstration versus the one that's behind us, which is obviously the more rational one, or the only rational one, is very different.
My other part as well is, what I say to everyone is you can see that there are a lot of Palestinian flags.
Yeah.
What's the relationship?
Well, I don't know, that's what I've been trying to ask. I mean, if you ask me, Hamas would use these guys as a human dartboard. So I find it quite a bizarre mashup. But you know, there was somebody more willing down there to have a discussion with me. And again, she was talking about how she hates capitalism. I'm a very big capitalist. She didn't get angry with me. She had a conversation. But then once again, people drag these people away. So one individual was having a conversation with me, and then they all come over and pull them away. So they're in a cult. They're in a cult.
It's like what I'm always saying to you, to sit down with your brothers and sisters and talk. You disagree, that's part of a democracy.
Yes, great.
But when you silence other people, you can do that, but it's you who will have the bad impression.
Yeah. Well, look, who's respectful and who's willing to have a conversation?
Do you want to have a chat for 30 seconds, guys, or anything? Just going to the opposition now. Some fine so far. There does seem to be quite a few different flags. Blue, pink and white, and yellow, white, purple, black, and red, orange, white, purple. I'm not fully familiar with all of them as well. Hopefully the camera can pick this up a bit more accurately because I can't hear it. But as I said already, there is Palestinian support next to it as well. I'm unsure of the link, but hopefully we oh, is it? That's all right. It's not now. But yeah, as I'm saying already, is that there seems to be some strange towards it as well, but I'm unsure why. What's the link between in terms of It's two separate things. Thank you very much. This very nice lady has said that already. Because they're not colonising. Very simple, very civil. We like that. We can see from this side across that the Stop the Trial protest, LGBT Alliance, has come out in full. Everyone here is doing really, really well. One of the big key parts of this then as well, that has been mentioned as well, is obviously that King's College London are going for this trial ahead, which basically has about 200 children, ages all the way from 11 if you're a girl when you start puberty, 12 if you're a boy, all the way as young as 10 years of age, and obviously then trying to see how you could ethically argue that a child could consent to that. But hopefully we'll get some words from the opposition, but again, no one seems to be talking. Fascist scum off our street. Neither, just reporting for either really.
I'm not talking to you, mate.
Sorry. Good police officer doing his job, which is what it's all about. Again now they're chanting away. Something about you don't know biology and fuck your binary. Unreally sure of the argument. I did, however, have a lovely chat with that lady here in the keffia, and she did turn around and I said, what's the relationship between the two? And I said, what's the relationship? She said, there isn't any. I was like, oh, okay, so fair enough.
I had a guy earlier who's been in the public, and he said, I said, should a man be able to go into a woman's bathroom?
Yeah.
He said, if we share the same streets, then yes. My daughter's trans. I said, your son. He went, I'm going to punch you. I was like, I wouldn't recommend doing that.
That's the thing as well. I was just hearing something from Helen Joyce, I believe it was, and she said, imagine if you did commit this towards your children. How would you be able to turn back if you knew you committed harm? I think there's something really serious about that. Like if you've gone all the way through, imagine you got surgery on them and you cannot change it.
No.
How long will it be until you turn around and say, yeah, actually we're getting it wrong?
HIV. What are they saying?
HRT, I think.
HIT. Isn't that inheritance tax? Do you get paid?
No, we're not like you. We're not like fucking right-wing freaks.
Love these ones. Guys, we are trying to get an interview from the opposition. We just found out, however, that the Palestinian side of the protest apparently has nothing to do with the trans protest. They just happen to be occupying the same space, both outside the Department of Health and Social Care. But like I said, in numbers, in droves, the LGBT Alliance and everyone else has showed up hugely. This crowd are a lot friendlier on this side. We like that. Police are keeping everyone contained, doing a very good job. Massive crowd. Everyone on this side doing a great job. Why are you here today?
I'm here for a number of reasons. One, I think it's completely wrong. Puberty blockers is mad. men are men, women are women. There's no such thing as non-binary. You can't change your sex. It's just impossible. It's a biological fact. And also because I have a personal thing is that my daughter has been sucked into this. So I'm very angry. I think these people are appalling. They just haven't got they just can't possibly be thinking what they're saying. Because if they did, they would realise it was mad. They're doing harm to people. My daughter has been harmed. Hundreds of thousands of children have been harmed by this. And adults. She's not a child anymore. She's a young adult. But I'm almost speechless with anger, actually, to be perfectly honest.
My question to you is obviously that they're saying as well with this trial is that they're going to be using it on kids. My question to everyone is, how can a child consent?
A child cannot consent. You don't give paracetamol to a kid without parental consent. If your kid's got a headache, the teacher's got. When they were in primary school, can they have a paracetamol for your kids? And then the same teachers will be going, puberty blockers.
I think this is maybe a problem for me. I would think is that wouldn't you want therapy or something first to manage someone's feelings, even if they were genuinely had gender incongruence? You'd want some time to sort that out.
Absolutely.
Before you do anything invasive.
Yeah. No. I know from personal experience with the NHS is that the moment someone turns up, my daughter, and says I'm a man, immediately they call her him and call her Mister. Yeah. Immediately.
Yeah.
There's been no therapy, there's been nothing.
My question is, do you think that they should take some time, obviously, in terms of, because kids by their nature are fluid. We think all sorts of things when we're younger, and then we get older, obviously we get wiser, we have more experience, rather than doing something that essentially, if I was reading correctly in the CAS report, 98% of any individual who goes on puberty blockers goes on cross-sex hormones.
Yeah.
They're sterile. Should we really be sterilising kids who overwhelmingly turn out to seem to be autistic, gay, bisexual? I have no problem with that. If you're gay, bisexual, I don't think there's anything wrong.
No, there's nothing. With your sexuality, but you just mustn't do things to people's bodies. But the other thing is that once you've done it, there's no going back. We all know about detransitioners. They're all distraught because of their, girls sort of saying, I want my voice back. I'll never get it back. Your breasts aren't going to come back. Your penis isn't going to come back. You make these decisions. Now, I know it can be. I have a friend about 30 years ago. He went through all this, but he had to go through 5 years of therapy before anything was. Plus, he was in his late 30s. Yeah. So he's a fully grown adult. Plus 5 years of therapy before anything was done to him.
I agree. I think in terms of the standards that should be applied in terms of care, because I don't think it can be care if it's harmful to someone. Again, this isn't something where you go on it and you come off straight away if you're on cross-sex hormones. It's that these are irreversible damages that happen, and therefore that wouldn't really be care to begin with.
Yeah.
What do you think is a better solution to these problems than yourself?
Better solution would be one's therapy. Any medical interventions, whether it's hormones or anything else, should be absolutely last resort after the person's condition has been tried and tested to the nth degree. And then, maybe, as you said, people are confused. The camp boy or the butch girl, instead of going, they grow out of it, they're probably going to be gay, or they might just grow out of it and just be, I'm a camp boy. When I was in my late teens, early 20s, believe it or not now, but I was a punk. I used to wear makeup and quite often taken for gay, but nowadays you'd be, you must be a girl. It's just nonsense.
The sentiment I'm hearing a lot from a lot of other people is just let kids be kids.
Let kids be kids, absolutely. We all do stupid things when we're kids. We'll have stupid ideas. I don't think that's a human being who hasn't had a stupid idea when they were kids, but we tend to grow out of them. As you mature.
Thank you very much for your time, brother. Can you tell me why you're here today?
Okay, well, my name's Dusty, and I'm a Substacker, and I'm a member of the LGBT Alliance, Sex Matters, Let Women Speak, and I do a Substack which sends out the news about what I call the TERF resistance around the world. I've got lots of readers in the UK and in Ireland, but also Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the USA rather. That's why I'm here, to support all the wonderful women fighting this. Yeah. And I think that the puberty blocker trial, I think it is deliberate. I think perhaps people are being a bit too nice to Wes Streeting, because I think that they saw a way of getting round the cash. They had to block them because of the cash review. They ordered the cash review. Cash said these are causing damage, and there's no sign that they're effective. Of course there's no sign they're effective because you can't change your sex. Then they thought clinical trial. So we can do this clinical trial. They've set it up. It's only going to last for 2 years. There isn't any blind group, because obviously you can't have a blind group when it comes to puberty blockers.
You know if you've had puberty or not.
You go, hold on, I'm a member of the blind group. I'm one of the blind group. There's no way, anyway, that children can give informed consent. I mean, that's nonsense. You know, they can't understand, I might lose my fertility, I might never be able to have children, you know, I might never have any sexual function if you go on with this too much longer, you know what I mean? The devastating effects of it. I'm shocked that the government are still ploughing on with it, and I think that they might need a legal challenge, and I know that you might have heard a guy called James Esses, also Kira Bell, who's a famous detransitioner, and a group called the Bayswater Support Group, who are a group of parents who are concerned about this situation, are taking a legal challenge against them. Oh, they've given them a letter before action. They've got until 19th of December to deal with that.
My main concern is I was wondering how they got ethical approval for it.
Well, yes, I mean, I think we were a little bit blindsided because everyone had said, how can you possibly give approval for this? If you go through all the things, like I mentioned one of them, which is informed consent. But the other thing is, if there is evidence of damage, you know, from these, then you don't, unless it is an absolute emergency, you know, like a type of cancer, and you think, well, we need to do this because maybe it will stop this type of, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Some very, very serious illness that you need to see whether you can trial something that might resolve it. This is not the situation here, you know. Aside from the fact that you can't transition, you can't change your sex. And we've just had the Supreme Court judgment, which has confirmed, you know, that it's biological sex. That's what is meant for in the Equality Act. No, I don't see how it can be ethical. When I say we were blindsided, I mean I think we all thought there's no way this is going to be given approval, and next minute it's given approval. That's why we've had to get organising, you know, and take it from here. So we'll have to see what happens after today, you know.
What do you think are the next steps going forward?
Well, I think obviously people are pushing in Parliament. It's very good that the letter that Rosie Duffield started has got now, I think, 50 MPs signed it, which is great, and it's a cross-party one as well. So from all parties, that's good. Obviously campaigning like this, but I do think a legal challenge is going to be required. And I hope that, well, we'll see. The government have got until 19th of December to answer the letter before action that has been sent in terms of the legal challenge. If they don't back down, then there's going to probably lodge a judicial review, and as part of that, I think they'll have to ask for an injunction, because a judicial review can take a year, 2 years, 3 years, you know, so it can take ages, and the trial will be finished by the time we've had a final hearing. So we might have to go to court and say, stop this now, you know, stop it now, and then we'll have the court hearing, and we'll see whether this can be, because there are ethical principles for any trial. And I don't see how they're satisfied here. You know.
Thank you very much, brother. So guys, the protest has pretty much come to an end now. The opposition as well pretty much are clearing up. Very much a lot of opinions, but a lot of similarities as well, of concerns of safeguarding, ethical issues, approval, challenging it further in court. The idea then of children as young as 10, maybe 11, 12, being unable to give consent. So an extraordinary day to come down as well.